it's Lauren, and this is my final video for my travels throughout the past 4 months in Europe. I have done 3 other videos on my trips to Ireland, Spain, Portugal, Germany, and Switzerland. This video will focus on the second half of my Easter break trip in Austria and Czech Republic. My first stop in Austria was Salzburg. This was one of my favorite cities in Europe, and it had so much to offer. I stayed at Yoho Hostel, where I met a great group of friends on the first night from so many different countries. The next morning, I started off my adventures in the city. I purchased the Salzburg card, which was €25 and allowed me to use public transit and get into all tourist attractions for free. If you are planning on going to Salzburg, this is definitely worth your money, as just the first place I went was more expensive than the card. First, I traveled just outside the city and took a cable car up Untersberg Mountain. This is a 456-meter high mountain, and the cable car trip just took over 5 minutes. The trip up the mountain gave breathtaking views of the snow-covered Alps and of the city of Salzburg. I spent around 2 hours walking around the mountain, and it was one of the best things of my entire 4 months in Europe. After that, I stopped at Hellbrunn Palace, which is home to a beautiful palace, the Trick Fountains, and a large park. I took a tour of the Trick Fountains, and it was really cool to see all of the water tricks throughout the grounds. I then walked around the park, which had views of the mountains, people having picnics in the grass, and is home to the gazebo from The Sound of Music. After that, I went to the Salzburg Fortress, which was a great place to see the mountains and overlook the city. I finished off my day walking around the water and seeing all of the cool buildings in the heart of Salzburg. The next day, I took a train to Vienna and checked into Wombat's hostel. The hostel was located just across the street from the Naschmarket. The Naschmarket dates back to the 16th century and has over 100 food and vintage stalls. I spent the afternoon here checking out all the vendors and enjoyed a pint of the original Budweiser. The next day, I took the metro to the Schönbrunn Palace, which is an 18th century summer palace with 1,441 rooms, large grounds, a zoo, and a number of gardens. I went up a tower to get a view of the city, went through the maze, visited the orangery gardens, and took a tour of the palace. After this, I went back into the city center of Vienna, where I saw beautiful buildings. I went to the Vienna State Opera House, which has over 50 operas and 16 ballets, the Museum Quarter, which has a number of museums including art and natural history, and St. Stephen's Cathedral. Vienna is a beautiful city with a great atmosphere. My last stop of the trip was Czech Republic. I went to Prague, which is the heart of the country. Prague was different from any city I have ever been, and I stayed in Old Prague Hostel, which was located in Old Town Prague. Just around the corner from the hostel was a market where you could get a selection of local cuisine, including trelnik, pignees, and hot wine. Trelnik is a chimney cake that can be filled with anything from Nutella to whipped cream to ice cream. I tried one, and it was one of the best desserts I have ever had. I then headed to the Charles Bridge, which is a highlight of the city. The building commenced in 1357, and it has towers on each end. I went up one of the towers to get a view of the bridge and overlook the city. I also visited the John Lennon Wall, which is simply a wall covered in graffiti. There were lots of people at the wall, and a musician played John Lennon songs where everyone sang along. This is one of my favorite places in Prague, as it was a simple wall that created such a great atmosphere. I then headed to the Prague Castle, which dates back to the 9th century. It is the largest coherent castle complex in the world and stretches over an area of 70,000 meters squared. After that, I went to the famous 5-story club, which is the largest club in Central Europe. I went to the ice pub, where everything in the room is made of ice, and finished off the day at the beer gardens, which was a great place for local beer, a large crowd, and a view of the whole city of Prague. Prague ended off my Easter trip and was my last stop before heading back to Ireland to finish my semester, and I'll be going back to Canada at the end of the week. I am very fortunate to have been able to spend the past 4 months traveling around Europe and learning about the culture in 7 different countries. Please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow my Instagram listed in the description below to check out all of my pictures and videos of my travels. Thank you for watching, and I hope my videos will help you in your future travels.